I've been working on duplicating craps tools. I started off with the boat, which is the wooden container that holds the dice when they're not in use. Typically, a player is offered 5 dice. When they first start rolling, they select 2, and then the other 3 get put in the dice boat and hidden away so they don't interfere with the others. These are made out of wood. They're fairly simple. When the 3 unused dice are put in here, they're pressed up against the wall of the table to keep them out of play so that they don't get mixed up with the real dice. So with a little bit of work in Tinkercad, I made a plastic version that's 3D printed. It's not as heavy duty probably, and not as heavy in weight, but it's made out of brown PLA and pretty similar. Does the job. Next, I started messing with dice. There are 5 standard sizes. It's a little tiny 8mm guy. This one's 12mm, 16, 19, and 25. 19 is the standard size for craps. 16 is probably what you get with most board games and so on. Notice these all have a very square edge. So I started messing around with bevels. Again, here's a 16mm with 0 bevel, so it's got, square edges. With a 1mm bevel, it's a little more rounded. This is a 2mm, and this is a 3mm. So most board games are going to have a 1 or a 2. For craps, you want the square. So what they do is they line 5 dice up together, and you have to push them with the stick. A lot of there's bigger bevels. These are all kind of rounded. There's others that are, the standard kind is probably, like I said, a 1 or a 2. These are all 1 or 2mm bevel. So a little more square, but still a slight rounded edge to them. A casino for craps uses a set of 5 dice, and they come in a package like this. The red dot says these are going to be red dice inside. In the package, there is a foil sleeve, and inside are 5 dice, of course. These are serialized. Each one of these say 424. Every package will have a different number on them, and that just prevents somebody from swapping the dice out or figuring out some way of cheating. So these are what I'm trying to duplicate. These are going to be a 19mm 0 bevel. You can tell they're very square. So when they lined up, you can push them with the stick and they won't tend to wander as much as a rounded one would. Lastly, I started playing with the marker, and this is one that I bought commercially. It is 3/4 of an inch thick, 3 inches in diameter. It has these rubber O-rings around it to keep it from slipping. Without the O-rings, it is 2 3/4 inches thick, made out of 2 pieces of plastic glued together, I assume. I think the black letters on that side and the white letters on this side are just painted on there. So that's the commercial one. My first attempt at it was this. I made the top part white and the bottom part black, and I had a little rectangular insert, and you can see it right there. It's underneath the on, so you can see like the outline of the rectangle. So there was a hole in the white piece for the black piece, and a hole in the black piece for the white piece. So the nice thing about that was I could print the two black pieces together, one after the other, and I could print the two other pieces together. Not have to worry about changing filament at all. Put that piece inside and then just glue it in. Same thing over here, and then glue the two halves together. But the lettering was the standard Tinkercad lettering, didn't look like what it was supposed to look like. So I got some word art and made the letters separately and came up with this. A little bit better, more like what it should be, size-wise. Still had the rectangle, and you can see it. So I decided, I don't like that. So I made the letters a little thicker. On the commercial one, these are real thin. The depth is real thin because they painted it. This was, I think, 0.6 millimeters. I like multiples of 0.3 because you can print it with a layer height of 1.5, or 2, and it all works out. So I doubled that, and this is what I came up with. So that still got that rectangle in there, but it's not near. You can, if you study it closely, you can see it, but it's not nearly as visible. So that one is better. I decided to try one other thing, and I made a single STL and just changed the filament 5 times. So there's no rectangle in here, but it took a lot of filament changes. You can tell though that this was on the bottom, and I didn't use supports because scraping them out of a tiny space like this has never been good for me. So the first filament change, the white, was printing over the top of empty places. And you can kind of tell where it sagged if you look closely. There's a little smudginess in there. It's not pretty. The sides also, you can tell there's lots of layers. I figured if you put the rubber ring on there, it wouldn't be too obvious, but it kinda is. You can still see it a little bit, and what you can see is the wrong color. So this should be black down to the middle, and there's white. And there should be white down to the middle, and there's black. So anyway, I tried one more thing. I did one with a sleeve. So this has a cylinder with the grooves for the O-rings, and when it was printed, I just did one filament change from black to white. Inside of that cylinder is another piece that's white on the bottom, black on the top, so you can't see that through here. And this one, of course, is black on the bottom, white on the top. This is my personal one with my name on it, Off and Ron. So that one was kind of a pain, but then I realized it really doesn't matter. Nobody's really looking behind the rubber rings. You see the top or the bottom. And so I went to a simple version, and this is just 2 pieces. So there's a white piece with black underneath it, and then there's a black piece with white underneath it, and these two were printed that way and glued together in the middle. So you don't have all the smudginess, and you don't have to glue the white underneath the black. You just have to glue these 2 parts together. So with the rings on them, I mean, yeah, it's the wrong color, but it's not bad. And I didn't need all the filament changes that I did on the other one. So it's not too obvious. If you're looking for it, you can tell. But I did a few special things. This is for Ben, the guy that taught me how to do stick. This is for Ross. He's mainly does poker. He does a lot of poker dealing. So he's got the dealer button. The company that I work for is called Game On, and this is for our manager. This is one with the cylinder. And you probably can't tell, but inside there it's not white, it's that glow in the dark filament. On this side it's green and black. Because I used the sleeve, you can't see the black or the glow in the dark on the side because there's another piece that's covering it on the edge. So this is 3 pieces with a filament change on each piece. That turned out pretty nice. It looks kind of cool in the dark. I did some colors. This one's yellow and black. This one's orange and black. This one's gold and glow in the dark. And this one's blue and glow in the dark. So it was kind of fun. Did a lot of neat things. And I'll put the STLs for all this stuff in somewhere out there. I'll put a link. Oh yeah, this weighs exactly 100 grams. I found that if I printed at 100% fill, I could get it up to 94 grams. Maybe if you wanted to be perfect, you'd leave a hollow place and put some lead in. I don't know. At 15, or I guess I use 20% fill, these will weigh about 50 to 55 grams.